traders, and welcome to your weekend forex analysis video. Hope you've all had a good week. There were certainly some really nice moves to be had out there in the end. We've been waiting for really quite some time for some momentum moves with a bit of direction, a bit of momentum, and finally we got them last week, which is a really good thing, and hopefully is a signal of the things to come going into the spring and the summer months. We're going to start off by taking a look at the Aussie dollar. Now the Aussie dollar, as we can see here on the daily chart, has been moving down for quite some time now. We've got sort of like a bit of a bottoming price action over here at the 0.7000 level. Now what I'm thinking with this particular pair is that we can either, well, we can potentially trade it, sorry, we can potentially trade it in two directions. So we can either wait for the trend line break, okay, so something like this, break to the upside on the daily chart, so that we'd probably take that either on an immediate break, or we'd wait for the market to kind of go through there a little bit. So break through a little bit, give us a bit of consolidation, price action up around this level, and then sort of take the next breakthrough, which is probably the most prudent approach considering that it is a bit of a big daily level there. Also, obviously, we'll be wanting to wait for some of the highs to be broken. So I think at the moment, this high over here would make sense to get broken. So if I put that in there. So if we wait for this high at the 0.7165 to also be broken, some sort of a pullback, breakout pullback to that level would signify a very good opportunity to take a trade. In terms of a profit target, you'd have to initially be looking at the 0.7300 area as a significant level in order to be able to take profits. And if we can get above that level, then we would also look at targeting the 0.7400 level. But I think that more realistically, somewhere around this area over here would make more sense, because it is also a previous level of support which could then be acting as resistance. So that's how we're going to play it on the Aussie dollar. I said that it could also break down, so we could be trading it in both directions. And what we would want to be doing here is wait for the market to come down to this level, give us a little bit of consolidation along this level. It could be on the 4-hour or the 1-hour chart. And once we've had that consolidation, then take the break to the downside. But it looks like a very neat and tidy price action setup from the daily perspective. And I think if the 4-hour and the 1-hour can follow suit, we could have a very good opportunity on our hands going into next week. The Aussie CAD isn't really as clear cut. You know, taking a look at this, at the picture over here, we would say that the downtrend is still upon us. We've got this area over here. So let's just stop the time from syncing there so the market doesn't jump all over the place. So what was I saying? So we've got this downward sloping trend line here. We actually could put in a little bit of a longer term one. So coming from the swing high on March the 13th, so all the way up at this area over here, March the 13th sort of, and coming down to that area there. Now, how can we play this? Well, similar sort of vein to the Aussie dollar, although it doesn't look nearly as, what's the word that I'm looking for here? Nearly as aesthetically pleasing, should we say, nearly as effective as the Aussie dollar, because the price action pattern on the Aussie dollar was that much better. But you would be playing this in exactly the same way. So on the upside, we would wait for the market to break through this level, give us a bit of consolidation, and then break a little bit further up as well. The problem that we have here is that we're likely, when we get in on this first trade here, we then got the problem of trading directly into this resistance point here. So it might be a good idea actually to forego the initial break here, and in actual fact wait to see how the market reacts at the longer term trend line up here. So wait for the market to come up there, give us a pullback, and then roar off into the sunset. Alternatively, what we could also look for at this level is we could look for some sort of a bounce. Now, you can either take this on the 1-hour chart. I prefer to take this on the 4-hour chart because the pattern is on the daily chart there, but we could be looking for something like this. Pull back a little bit and then give us a breakdown. You know the one we're looking for, the 1, 2, 3 reversal. So we've got the high there, got a lower high, we've got the low, and then over here the market would then break that low, giving us a lower low and a nice sell-off to the downside. Obviously, I think we need to keep our eye on the Australian dollar, because that's obviously going to have a big impact on the direction of the Aussie CAD going forward. But as I said, not as great a setup as the Aussie dollar, but by no means a terrible setup either. So there are a few things that we definitely could be looking at here. And just also spotted while I'm talking to you, we've got a small minor trend line on the 4-hour chart there. So if we get the break of that and that sort of price action, that could also represent a very, very good opportunity to sell the markets. Looking at the Aussie franc, so the Aussie franc. So the Aussie franc here, we were looking at the market had broken this previous level, which you can see here better on the 4-hour charts. This previous level of support, okay, broken it temporarily, and we were saying that ultimately we were going to be looking for some sort of a breakdown of this, because we believe that the market is very much on the Aussie franc here, is trending to the downside. Okay, so we can see that we've got lower lows and lower highs all the way down there. I'm sure the market could come back up to this level, but we just kind of anticipate that perhaps the better trade to take would be to take a breakdown of this. You go in there. Would be to take a breakdown of the short-term supports level at the 0.7026. Our stop will be above the highs, and probably better to put it even further above and put it above the downward sloping trend line there at some point, and then targeting the initial lows at the 0.6881, which is ultimately the recent all-time lows. I'm not really going to, oops, get rid of that there. I'm not really going to count the spike low in here, because it literally was a day. It was sold off massively and pulled back very, very quickly. So a little bit of anomaly there. So I'm going to focus on the bigger levels. And ultimately, if we get the breakdown here, I think we could have a very, very nice trade on our hands. Looking at the Aussie yen, so the Aussie yen, if we put in our trend line just to get a gauge the trend there, so we're nowhere near the trend line there, so nowhere near any sort of a reaction. The market has been playing with previous levels of supports, which are then acting as resistance. We've got these previous levels over here in March 2018. The market has since pulled back to it. As long as the market's not trading above that level, then I'm not going to be bullish. And instead I'm going to be looking for some short-term trades. Now, I don't think the price action setup is anywhere near perfect at the moment, all right, on the 4-hour chart. But what I will be looking for going into next week is I will be looking for these lows over here to be broken. And then I'll take a little bit of a scout at the price action on the 1-hour chart once the market gets beneath these lows here. Okay, so that's how I'm going to be playing this going into next week. But at the moment, the trade isn't on there yet. The Aussie New Zealand has given us some nice momentum to the upside. However, if we put in the trend line here, we draw on the trend line, we can see that it is being capped by this trend line. So what we're going to want to see is a little bit of a break above the level. Okay, we want to see the market trading above the level before we take this trade. So we want to see it come above this level, maybe give us a little bit of a pullback, followed by a buy to the upside, which obviously would be a very, very nice trade to have. But by the same token, we also need to be aware that the market could do one of these, come up, touch a trend line, pull back a little bit, and then sell off from there. And equally, we need to be ready for the sell-off, although I think that is probably a little bit more unlikely, not impossible, but a little bit more unlikely than the break to the upside, taking into account this recent momentum here. Okay, but until the markets do break above the upward sloping trend line, there isn't really much to trade here, but we will keep an eye on this going into next week, because potentially there could be some very nice trades on the horizon there. Taking a look at the CAD franc. So the CAD franc, as you can see here, is printing lower highs all the way along here. So from the top all the way down, it's printing lower highs and lower lows. In fact, if we pull this back, would we even get it? Probably not. Okay, we'll stick to these over here. So we've got the lower highs here, we've got the lower lows. It looks like the market has reacted to this previous level of resistance here. So what I'm going to look to do going into next week is actually play the breakdown of that. So this little pullback over here on the CAD franc, I'm going to put in a trend line there like that. When the market breaks this trend line, I will then be a seller, and I'm going to be targeting initially going down towards the lows at the 0.7199. So a couple of hundred pips worth of profit potentially on our hands here. Obviously, if the market breaks back up, we need to see how it reacts with the downward sloping trend line before we look to get involved in any trade there. Moving on to the CAD yen. So the CAD yen for me is kind of indicating that it is going to go lower. Okay, so we had this pullback over here. Let me get the trend line tool in there. We had this pullback over here. Okay, do it on the 4-hour charts. The market has broken that level. It's pulled back to it, and now it looks like it's selling off. In addition to that, we've also got the downward sloping trend line here. Okay, which is kind of keeping the market in check. And what I want to do is I actually want to play this pullback here. So take a sell of this pullback when the market breaks through this level here, and trade down towards the lows. Which, you know, it's no mean feat, but I think from a price action perspective, we have to respect the fact that we've got quite a good context around this trade here. We've got the downward sloping trend line, we've got the lower lows, we've got the momentum to the downside, we've got the break of the counter trend line there, and then the market's pulled back a little bit, and I think the sell-off from here will represent an excellent opportunity to get short in the CAD yen. The franc yen, I don't really like a lot here, to be honest with you. I think there's enough to do on some of the other pairs, and at the moment, franc yen isn't really saying anything fantastic to me. The Euro Aussie is proving a little bit difficult to trade. It's in a bit of, let's say, a bit of consolidation here, so which we can cap by this bottom area here and this top area here. So I'm going to kind of say until the market breaks through either one of these levels, I'm not really fussed about taking a trade. Sure, we could take a 1, 2, 3 reversal from that level if the price action is picture perfect, but really I want to see the market break through one of these levels before I get involved in the trade now. The Euro CAD isn't quite as dire as the Euro Aussie, so we do have the fact that the market has attempted to break up, but it got immediately sold into. Looks like the market is being sold into again here after reacting to a previous level of resistance. Okay, so we go back here on the 2nd of June is also being taken into account all the way over here on the 25th of May, which is why I say you really can't make this stuff up, guys. You know, the markets react to these levels over and over and over again. Look, back here in November 2016, fast forward to June 2017, being played with and respected in November 2017, and then September 2018, and then again this year. How am I going to look to play this? Well, the market is already broken through the upward sloping trend line I would have put in here. So let's go a little bit more conservative and go a little bit further back and say that when the market breaks through this trend line, all right, and also the low at the 1.4887, I'm then going to be a bear and I'm going to be selling this market. Looking at the Euro pounds, there's been some really nice opportunities in this over the past sort of, well, since the beginning of the year. But at the moment now, it looks like it is going to go into a bit of a consolidative range. And so from that perspective, we're going to leave that for the moment. The Euro Yen still looks like it's going to break down. I'm still quite confident of this. It's now holding beneath these previous levels of support at the 124.90. I think if it can continue to hold below there and then give us our break to the downside, which will be a break of 123.63 and break beneath that level, then we could see the floodgates really open up in this pair and give us a fantastic opportunity to sell it. Stop's going to be above the highs at around the 127.95, because I want to give it enough room to breathe. But I think that if we do get this break here, the price action really is pointing to a bit of a downwards move, well, from a technical perspective in any case. The Euro New Zealand, I don't love at the moment. There's nothing a lot this great here for me, so I'm not going to do anything with that for the moment. The Euro Dollar, I'm looking for it to come back to this very, very big level. Look, we've got the big level of support here at the 1.1184 level. I'm looking for the 1, 2, 3 reversal at this level here, as you can see from the drawing tool already in there. If we do, however, get the break of this level, I'm going to look for some consolidation beneath that level before I get involved in the trade. I'm not just going to sell because the market breaks a level. I need it to really kind of give me the price action and prove to me that it wants to get lower, if that makes any sense. The pound pairs, I'm just going to leave for the moment. With everything that's going on with Brexit at the moment, we're coming up to the new date. That's looming a little. You know, I don't want to be involved in anything right now. As far as the pound is concerned, so we'll kind of skip that. The New Zealand CAD, we were looking at the sell-off from this level over here at the 0.9252. That sell-off has come, and now I've actually sold into this at the end of last week when the market broke beneath the 0.9096, which you may as well say is the 0.9100 level there. My stop is currently above the highs at the 0.9160. And I'm anticipating a move down towards the 100 moving average. Hopefully it can break beneath that 100 moving average on the daily chart before it kind of makes its mission back up to this level. But if we take a look at the momentum at this level here, look at the way these daily candles kind of meandered up towards the level. And then as soon as it got there, within 2 candles, it was sold right into, which really tells me that this market is very, very bearish. And I'm anticipating a lot of downwards movement in the price action here. The New Zealand franc, there's not a lot that I'm in love with at the moment, so we will leave that. The New Zealand yen is also a little bit dodgy, so we're not going to trade anything there. You know, when we've got enough opportunities out there, you don't need to force your hand on anything. You can just kind of wait to see. So that's really what we're going to do. New Zealand dollar, however, there's a couple of decent trend lines that we can look to take a break off here. You've got this one where the market began it on the 21st of January of this year, and it's kind of come back to it again and again and again. And ultimately, I'm going to be looking for the market to break beneath this level. Okay, I'm not really looking for any buying opportunities right now, but I'm going to look for the market to break beneath this level at the 0.6753 level, at which point I'm going to get short and I'm going to put my stops above the highs. I just think the price action here, if you look at the way it was sold off, then the momentum going into this trade, there's been plenty of opportunity for the buyers to get involved, but they just don't seem to have the confidence behind this trade, which is why I'm ultimately looking to sell into it. The dollar CAD is a bit iffy at the moment, so I'm not going to do anything now. This might change on Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, but right now, not a lot that I want to do. The same goes for the dollar franc. You know, you potentially could look to trade on a move beneath this particular trend line here. But I'm really interested to see what the price action is going into Monday's trading before I get involved in this trade. If I see momentum in either direction, all bets are off. If the market continues to kind of respect this area, then I will certainly look for a short in this trade. But potentially it's going to be Tuesday's inner circle analysis video before we get there. And then finally, the dollar yen. There's not a lot that I want to do here at the moment. I've already taken a few tactical shorts in this one. Yes, we've got the market has broken through this trend line here and then pulled back to it, which you can see on the 4-hour chart. It happens time and time again. Now I'm just waiting to see if the market can respect this level and can hold beneath this trend line. If it breaks back up above, I'm going to be closing my trades. But if it can hold beneath here and start a bit of a sell-off, I think the big sell-off will follow. Okay, so thank you so much for watching the weekend analysis video. I hope you are all enjoying it. And I hope you're getting good value out of it. If you've got any questions, please feel free to drop me an email. Otherwise, have a fantastic week in the markets for those of you that aren't part of the Inner Circle. And for those of you that are, I look forward to speaking to you in tomorrow's Inner Circle analysis video. Take care now.